SpaceX announces another try at Starship 13 launch. The clock is still uncertain. SpaceX's great unlocking of the shares is coming soon. No less than $116 billion worth. We'll see what happens there. The Space Force, flush with cash, is now looking to buy up to $30 billion in launches. Let that sink in. A German component supplier, Delta Vision, just made 10.2 million euros in investment. Poland has joined the EU's mission to liberate Europe from Starlink. More sovereignty coming up. Turns out the new chief of the Space Force is not a fan of letters of marque and reprisal. Who knew? Another shocker. NASA acknowledges there are challenges to building a human moon base. We'll discuss. And remember how we were all going to get those jetpacks in the 21st century? Well, apparently only Northrop Grumman's robots get them, at least for now. All that and our guest, Michael Kamp. From the news desk at the Center for Space, Commerce, and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. As you know, this program is brought to you by the Center for Space, Commerce, and Finance. And what do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our legendary pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. And a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is funded and supported by our listeners and fans like you. So let's go to cscf.space/support. Click that plain as day donate button. Our legend, a little in the tip jar each month makes a big difference. And don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. And speaking of friends, my longest space friend, Michael Lane, is with us. No extra commentary required tonight. Come on in, Michael. I gotta give you one break a month.
It's a pass. It's a free pass. Nice.
You know, man,
how are you?
I'm all right.
What's going on?
Oh, just grinding through another week, trying to get stuff done.
Right on.
Yep. Just as disturbing as the other intros. Yeah, that's us. That's us. Thank you, Sean, for that thrilling commentary.
Welcome to our. Go ahead.
But no, you were saying something.
I was just going to say welcome to our friends that are here pretty often. Thanks a lot, Morty. I see somebody that I don't recognize. Nicholas, thanks for coming in. Appreciate that. Let us know if you like what you're seeing here. All right. So
hey, I want to ask you, how's your mom?
Mom is doing fine. She broke her foot. The docs think it's a stress fracture, which, you know what she was doing? She was gardening. And she was just sitting in the dirt gardening, and the top bone of your toes, this one, it popped. Now that is very bad news because that implies osteoporosis is a lot farther than we thought it was. So
wow, yeah.
So fine-ish, but this is probably going to be a 6 or 8 week healing process. It's very uncomfortable. She's not in a lot of pain, so that's great. So, but thanks for asking. Appreciate it. Thanks for asking. Hey, Dallas. Thanks for lurking. Appreciate you being here. So mom's as healthy as you can be at 81. You know, we just passed her 1 year anniversary of getting a pacemaker in. So,
okay.
You know, it's a little spooky, but it's not very spooky. So I guess that's the best I can say right now. There's nothing we have to do. She's got good people helping her out. So that kind of lowers the requirement for me a little bit, which is rare because usually I'm the one who has to do all the caretaking. So that's a little bit nice.
I get it.
But yeah, so thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anything
So
going on in your neck of the woods?
Oh, not really. I'm just still we're doing a big push on fundraising for Avialto. We've got some meetings scheduled in the next few days, and Lisa's going back to Silicon Valley again, like in a week or so. Okay. And I guess Walt's got some people out there too, so they're both going. They're going to tag team some people out that way. So that's very, very promising. I'm working on family offices and doing things in this end of the country. Yeah, pretty much it. And also, there's a bunch of stuff involving the center that we're working on, and that we'll be talking about after the show, actually. So, because you guys will be involved. Anyway, for the first tidbit is actually pretty easy. SpaceX has opened up the launch window for Starship 13 again. Mm-hmm. They thought they might do it tonight, but I just looked at their countdown clock right now. It's 22 hours.
Yeah.
On SpaceX website, you go to look at it, says T-minus 22 hours. No, so it's going to be this time tomorrow, and we'll
beautiful picture.
Yeah,
that looks kind of magic. I love that.
But they're not going anywhere till at least 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
Fair enough. It does beg the question. Their forecasted plan of 3 launches a day, 4 launches a day. You better have something where you've got different weather, right? What does the hurricane season do to a site in Boca Chica and also in Florida? Right?
Yeah. They're building that thing at the Cape. They're getting it done really quickly. They want to have that up and running by the end of this year. Yeah. There's what it means is there are certain times of year where you don't have a lot of launch windows, which means every other window out of hurricane season, you're pulling double duty now if you're going to keep up that schedule.
Right.
That's why they're building such a huge factory. They can crank them out and say, okay, launch one now. Oh, hurricane stop for a week.
Sorry. What I heard 2 years ago at ISDC was that launches are happening so frequently now that they're starting to readjust the flight patterns for commercial aircraft coming into Miami. That was an unintended consequence I had not really thought about before. So yeah. Right on. Hey, Madison, thanks for being here. I think you're new. Thanks for being here. Let us know what you think. All right, let's move on to our next piece of news.
This will be a topic you'll like. This will keep you going for a while.
Right.
The great unlocking begins very soon now. We're like maybe 3 weeks away. We call it the great unlocking. So all those 4,400 that had all those shares, they had to wait 2 months.
Right.
And now we're about 3 weeks away or so from unlocking those and see what they're going to do with them. Hang on to them, sell them, whatever. But it's $116 billion worth of shares. Now, oh God, I don't know. I was going to look. My phone's on the charger. I was going to see what SpaceX closed at.
116. I already beat you at that one. That was one thing I wanted to know. Yeah,
it dipped down as low as 112. Midday today, it dipped as low as 112. I just want to see if it still maintained that. So it's
it closed at 118 and was down $2 more in after-hour trading.
Okay,
I literally just looked it up, but yeah, we had Ron on this show a couple times now, Ron Warner, and boy, is that guy gloating. Right?
It's not even him; it's his buddy. It was a guy. It was one of his friends who gave him this information, and he said, "My buddy's saying it's going to be down to 50 by the end of the year."
Yeah.
I think Ron himself's a little more agnostic about it, but he listens to these people that he counts on.
Jason, I mean, he's putting it in right up here on the screen right now. He's like, I'm buying it 100, so you don't have to wait very long.
I've got a I've got a put option
Yeah.
in mid-August. So we'll see what it is then.
I don't know what's going to happen. I do not have a dog in this fight. I decided I wasn't going to put any capital in it, and I'm just watching from the sidelines. I'm fascinated by it. But all right, so do you have any predictions? All right, so 116 billion is available for sale next month.
Right. And if everybody tries to sell a bunch of it at once, you know what's going to happen?
Right.
The price is going to drop. So that's why we have a put option for mid-August.
Right. Okay.
It could get down to 80 or something, It's like, okay, I'm not doing it to get, get rich. I'm only getting like 100 shares just to say at this moment in history, I had owned a piece of that.
Right.
It's a piece of history.
I think that's
like a mining stock from 1890.
Right. The only thing that I do know for sure is he's got 100 million shares available. 100 billion share bonus if he gets 1 million people on Mars.
Well, that would be a good incentive.
If that was written into my contract, I'd be working pretty hard for it. And that tells me the SpaceX stock is going to be good someday. But that's a hell of a bonus. That's the one thing I keep thinking about every time I see these bears, these short sellers. I'm like, yeah, but what about that? What about that million on Mars? ? So, yeah, what's he gonna do there? But fascinating. This isn't the only unlock, right? This is the first unlock. Is that correct? This is the
first one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I find it interesting. Does this unlock happen before or after their earnings call? Do you know?
I think it's after.
Okay.
Just after.
Oh, that's interesting timing, right? So you get the earnings call. One thing that the Space Capital folks point out is that they made more in one quarter than as an AI company than their whole 20 plus years building as a space company.
Right.
So what is that earnings call?
As you say, the earnings call is going to be very important because it says right here, if the stock stages a sharp rally in the coming days, presumably after the earnings call, as many as 455.8 million additional shares could be eligible for trading immediately after the earnings release. But here's the big but. To clear the bar, the stock would need to sit on 175.50 for at least 5 of a 10-day period. That would be more than 46% above Monday's close at 119. So,
yeah, I don't see that. Okay, all right. So it's a little bit of wait and see, but yeah, if I was betting, I would not bet on it. Not yet.
Maybe when I'm 97, maybe I can my shares will be, Okay, but get this. This is hard money. The Space Force, as we know, is flush with cash. We just weren't sure how flush they were because they're seeking to actually buy. You read it there first. $30 billion in launches.
Yeah. Again, that's only a fraction of the $600 billion available for Golden Dome.
Yeah. Well, that's 5%. That's a healthy chunk.
Yep.
Would you like 5% of that?
I would. I would be quite happy with that. Yeah,
A 0.5% of that would build the elevator. So,
right.
A
fraction, sure. $30 billion, right? So there's kind of two paths. There's the ultra cool, a high stakes security version that really needs reliability, and then there's the second path, lane 2, that's open to a couple other the stoked spaces and the relativities and the impulses and Rocket Lab.
Rocket Labs, all those guys.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Rocket Lab is not eligible for the first lane, because those are the tried and true people, and I kind of feel like, so lane 1 is SpaceX, ULA, and Blue Origin. Lane 2 is Rocket Lab, Stoke, Relativity, and Impulse. I would definitely put Relativity, Impulse, and Stoke in lane 2 for sure. They're very much in development. But I wonder what it takes to get Rocket Lab into lane 1. I wonder if that's
you have to launch from America.
I was just about to say, is it quasi?
That's it.
That's it. That's the answer.
That's it.
Okay.
As my pool buddy tells me, that's it. That's the shot. Take that shot. And so, yeah.
25 lane 2 missions. 25 missions. And then lane 1 is 30 missions. That's pretty neat. I mean, that's one contract for 55 missions, all projected out to 2029. So it's going to be a while for these things,
and that's half of that's got to be payload, because it's not all launch. I mean, that's still almost $500 million a pop,
right?
A little more than $500 million a pop for each one of those.
Yeah,
if you spend it all. So, what's in those payloads? It's so expensive because launch is not going to cost that much,
right?
Anymore.
Well, President Trump is aiming for $71 billion for Space Force in fiscal 27, up from $40 billion this year. Remember when Space Force was lucky to get $8 billion and they thought, woohoo, look at us with $8 billion, right? And now they're aiming for $71 billion.
And they got everybody they recruited at first. They were all, ex-Air Force IT jocks have been flying on a console, for their careers. And now they get to have an elevated status, but they're still doing the same thing.
And there's more of them doing it, right?
Yep. Yeah, I met a few. They're cool people, actually. They're very cool people. All
right. Let's move on.
Moving on. Okay, this will be easy. This is a short one. A German component supplier called Delta Vision raises 10.2 million euros. It's a show about, space and money. Well, there it is. There's not a lot you can talk about it. They're a component developer because it's space news, and I try to avoid space news because I don't want to pay them. Even if Jeff Faust is writing the article, I know I'm not going to pay him. So when I still get Space Review every week in my inbox, I can read all the Jeff Faust I want.
Right. Yeah.
Love him, but hey.
Yeah. All right.
So they I guess they produce just basic hardware, valves, and related equipment, and they're trying to enable in-space refueling. Maybe that's why they got some money right now, because I'm sure the Euros also want some sovereign capacity in that department.
Well, that's what the very next article is kind of talking about, right?
Yep.
Independence from Starlink, right? So they're kind of linked there. Poland has joined Europe's drive for satellite sovereignty, signing up to help build EU's own communications constellation as Brussels seeks to reduce its reliance on Elon Musk's Starlink and other foreign networks. What other foreign networks? What other ones are they talking about?
Well, the ones that are losing money, like OneWeb.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how I I spent some time today looking at this thing called Jevons paradox, and I didn't know jack about this, and I'm just going to share it with everybody for a minute because this is something I only just learned about. It's the idea that um, as a commodity drops in price, its usage expands, and so the net is that there's greater volume. And they've applied it to all kinds of things. Originally, it came out of coal from England, but they've applied it to chips and telecom, and now I applied it to space, and it was pretty interesting. But what it doesn't take into account is the requirement for sovereignty. Like if the world was this global commons, I wonder how much of the world needs its own sovereign satellite capability, right? Um, but the world isn't that way, and so nations do want to have their own launch capability, their own satellite, their own network, their own comms, their own Earth observation. So that was something that the AIs could not really answer me on. Is that Jevons paradox kind of fits if you're in a box. That's kind of how I
that makes sense.
it.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I love that. Poland joins the mission to free Europe from Starlink dependence. The evil empire is upon us. We must fight.
Well, okay, but look at what happened with Ukraine in the earliest days of the Russian invasion, right? SpaceX, not the company, the person of Elon Musk tweeted they didn't like its use, and then 15 minutes later, SpaceX, the organization, shut down capabilities, battlefield capabilities. Now, they did build their own system. Star Shield is different from Starlink, that is allowed to have, encouraged to have military elements to it. But yeah, if you were a commander in the battlefield, would you want to rely on the whims of a very mercurial CEO? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
well, the Russians have learned a few things about that, and now they're all of a sudden starting to do stuff on their own.
Right. So, yeah, I think it actually makes sense from Poland to divest a little bit, but it's not like people are making them use Starlink. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, my company has an answer too.
Right.
It could go places where conventional telecom companies, terrestrial telecom companies, can't go and serve people now, and we're also going places at the same time who can't afford Starlink anyway.
I think you should be pushing that sovereignty angle all day long.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
We're doing well here. We only have like two fewer items than we used to do than we've had prior.
Yeah.
I made a little snarky joke at the beginning. It says the next Space Force chief throws cold water on the idea of space privateers. Of course, this is a long traditional thing that's all but ingrained in our Constitution from the very earliest days of this country. But in modern times, the new Space Force chief is not so sanguine about the idea, and he's not going to support it. So no letters of mark and reprisal for you.
Okay. I don't have that much to say about this. I don't know who this new guy is really. I know a little bit. General Saltzman. In fact, we interviewed him on one of our shows earlier, but I don't really know that much about this guy, so I don't have a lot of comments. Too bad we can't have marks of reprisal, though. Those are the good old days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I just thought it was interesting because the Constitution explicitly gives the government the power to use privateers.
Right.
The practice has always been controversial.
Yeah,
And somebody called it a morally ambiguous practice. You think?
I agree. I think it's morally ambiguous.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna. You know what? We all the shows we've done about the cislunar economy and property rights and how we're going to protect them on the moon and elsewhere. We're going to see a lot of morally ambiguous practices in the next couple of decades.
Boy, no kidding.
And all we'll be able to do is like say, "Hey,
Will we long for the days of lawfare when this stuff was confined to courts that didn't really have a lot of power over this problem?
Yeah, that might look quaint.
Yeah.
It might be the quaint old days in our dotage, talking about that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that much. So this guy, Shies, Lieutenant General Doug Shies, is the nominee for the chief of space operations. That's the 4-star general that runs Space Force. He's currently a 3-star general. He's being considered for the 4-star position. Here's his quote: "There are definitely different mission areas where having commercial leasing, different ways to do that makes sense. Satellite communications, space domain awareness, things like that. But I also agree when it is a weapon system or a capability that would be able to harm another person's equipment, their assets, or even people, that needs to be completely owned by the Space Force and needs to be controlled."
Oh, of course. Sure.
So let's take a far-fetched idea, right? We've got a couple satellites up there that are building grabbers. I was just over at Starfish last week and saw their satellite with a grabber. On the surface, that's a maintenance system. I think it was Lockheed Martin sent up another maintenance system with a grabber yesterday, the day before, something like that. So those capabilities are out there, and if you do it benignly, great. But if you go up and grab somebody else's satellite, they might not have a sense of humor about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does that mean that Space Force is going to buy one of those capabilities and just say, this is our satellite now? Or because marks of reprisal means it would be a private company going out and doing it on behalf of the government and getting paid for by the government.
Yeah.
Some
of that could end up happening.
Yeah.
Still, they could. 2 more quick things, and we're going to go to our guest. But sure. I got the one thing. It's not much meat to it, unfortunately. It's another one of those things. They don't let you in. But I guess NASA finally admitted the human moon base has some challenges to it that they hadn't foreseen when they were designing the architecture. Now it looks like they're going through a design cycle. You know what? I had an idea. I want to do someday. I may yet do it. With the hat on, I may do a series of short videos, like maybe 45 seconds, and they're all the same theme. They're called "You're Doing It Wrong." And my first one I thought of this article. I thought, okay, I have this big model on a table,
cover
right? Yep. And it just looks like it's one of those beautifully architected what they think a moon base is going to look like. Right. And so I look at that. There's the rocket over here and all this beautiful architecture, and I pour a big bucket of sand on it. And so it's all covered by sand. And it looks like these lumps of sand dunes now. That's what it's really going to look like. Because you have to cover everything with dirt to protect you from the radiation. You're not from orbit, you're going to see the rocket launcher. That's it.
Right.
So, but no one will get that real. No one will.
Nobody will. All right, one more, and then let's bring our guest.
Final, very quickly. Northrop Grumman.
Yeah, I said it was Lockheed. It's Northrop Grumman. That's exactly what
Northrop Grumman launches in-space surveying satellites for life extension missions, and includes a robotic vehicle with an orbital jetpack to sustain 3 commercial satellites after they run out of fuel.
Neat.
So we're not quite at the Jetsons yet. The robots get the jetpacks.
Right. Yep.
We don't. Not yet.
Do you remember the space lawyer Wayne White from a long time ago?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him post in a long time. I haven't seen him in person in years.
Yeah. Well, I saw him at the ISDC.
Well, he posted something that he's like, 20 years ago I suggested this to DARPA and now it's happening. So he kind of took a little.
I'll reach out to him. I'll reach out to him. He kind of hinted he might like to be a guest. And so
I would. After this, I think that would be great.
In our stable of lawyers, we can always add another one, right?
Right, sure.
Okay.
Never have too many space lawyers.
Okay, moving on. We're going to go to our guest this evening. We've talked a lot about agriculture and the high frontier and what we're going to do and what we're going to grow. This gentleman, his name is Michael Kamp. He's the CEO of Honeycomb Hydro, and he builds equipment for and does chemistry involved in mostly in the cannabis industry, which I've been involved in a couple of times in my life. And he wants to grow those like acres and acres of hemp on the moon and Mars to help sustain settlements there. So, Michael, why don't you come on in? There he is.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you? Michael, Thomas, rest of the world, pleasure.
Thanks for being here. Thanks
for having a cannabis enthusiast like myself. It's a rare opportunity, and most are probably going like, "What in the hell does weed have to do with anything?"
What does one have to do in the other?
Right.
I mean, I have my own opinions. You've already heard them. I want to hear them from you. But talk to us about. Before we get started, give us like a minute or two of your background, just kind of your origin story, how you got to where you are.
No, absolutely. I'll start with the now, and then we'll dip back and then come back too.
Okay.
So my name's Michael Kamp. I'm considered a regenerative systems architect, immersive technology strategist, and ecosystem builder. I've got about 30 years of cultivation experience under my belt. And then I operate at the intersection of hemp infrastructure, XR, be it AR, VR, MR, what have you, AI integration, blockchain, climate technology, and then that all pushed through global impact initiatives. So being the CEO of Honeycomb Hydro, we've created an amazing tech called HempSat, which is a regenerative infrastructure as a service for farmers and just for data collection and the ability to educate on regenerative agriculture, but also to protect that data for the farmers, those who create it, produce it, and be able to monetize it through the other systems and mechanisms of the world for ecological impact, and then of course the products made from it. All started back in back when I was a young tot. My uncle was developer for the missile guidance systems for the F-22 and stealth bombers. So I was very intrigued into once I found some top secret books that I absolutely opened, and to go through and find out what was there. I was completely fascinated and fell in love with just space itself, from the aeronautical and the F-22, F-16, just the fascination with these amazing jets and the systems they're made out of. I always wanted to grow cannabis in space. I've been growing since I was 12. So when it came to of all these things to go, I was like, man, this would be it'd just be so amazing. What would zero gravity do on the agricultural component, not knowing, and just little things like that. I ended up getting a 98 on my ASVAB, so I was set for astronautical piloting, astronautical engineering through Colorado Springs, and I ended up getting busted for cannabis and was no longer qualified to go into space that way.
Yeah.
So
great way to get even, by the way.
I doubled down on the plant, got to know a lot, and then it just got to know a lot of the growers and the culture of it, and just the agricultural aspects in it. And then in the past about 15 years, the last 10 real heavy, the industrial components and all the different layers that cannabis sativa L actually creates and is, be it the segmented of hemp or marijuana or ganja or the made up numbers of 0.03% and all of this propaganda and nonsense to really take away the sovereignty, like you were speaking earlier, rights that we have as people. And the plant provides it in a food sovereign level. It is food security, it is clothing, it is fuel. This is hemp. Like there's so many different layers of the products itself that comes into its regenerative aspects. One for foods and the payloads into space. You need to, if you're not growing food there, you're definitely not going to be moving and doing things there. So if the food is that establishment isn't for available, you're not going to go there and then do it. That's right. Like the payload you were talking earlier, I think, it should be robots. It should be the right seeds, agricultural training components, and start developing the moon regolith into the organic substrate that it can be. So in my path of the cannabis, right, my company is a marketing, branding, storytelling company, if you will. And that's how I've had to navigate for those other brands, be it medical or the industrial side. So I got introduced to Alejandro Otero, Star Horizon, another amazing hempster and plant enthusiast and forward thinker. And we were building the HempSat through a hackathon that I did for an Avalanche. So in 30 days, we built HempSat, which is a middleware technology, connects to low Earth orbit satellites to then allow farmers to document what they need to, handshake into the sensors needed on the ground, and just that data accumulation to really know what's going on, and the power of the satellites plus ground plus that data being owned by the farmers and actually protected for those who should have it, right? And that data is key. So in all of this movement and in space, we formulated the HempX Symposium. So we just released that on April 19th of this year. And we got 12 speakers together. It was a full cadence, 2.5 hours of what the plant's capability is for space expansion, exploration, and economy itself. So it was set up in 6 different acts. So from defining what the system is, to the biological foundations, to the measurement and material validation, to the actual industrial supply deployment, the systems under constraint, which is a huge component in any spacefaring, when it comes to closed loop systems and having zero waste. And then, like you spoke earlier of ethics and the governance and the culture that's surrounding these new places we're going to be inhabiting. We fully believe you need to take the plant with you in more ways than just the food components and the CO2 scrubbing and the biomaterial. When it comes in of hemp, the HempX Symposium, you can only see on our school, on our Gaia Guild school. We kind of got it token gated in our little education platform. It's school SKOOL. Our platform is GaiaGuild.com, but it's free for now. For the next we're 73 members. Once we hit 100, we'll be putting it in the $5 a month for people to actually come in, add value, and then further evolve into the hands-on components of these farms and space, be it Earth farmer, space farmer, the connective tissue of how they both. Especially with closed loop systems, how cannabis, what it can do here on the planet that needs to be done on the planet is absolute must in these other, closed loop systems on Mars, Moon, other planetary bodies. So it's biomaterials is huge. The testing into it, right? Hemp construction just went through on ASTM standards. It's as far as it's went. In HempX Symposium, one of our speakers breaks down what we need to do and what boards are needed for ISO standards and these further standards of biomaterials made with this plant that can further enhance the goals and the missions that we have there as well, as just as a civilization. I like that a lot of people, when we talk on space, they're like, why are you looking at space? You're just trying to get away, and the world is under such destruction, and it
Right.
needs to heal instead of
You're a
the
little odd.
trying to get away from it. So it's a systematic step to go right back into the regenerative components of the plant and how powerful it truly is, that we just look at it up in space because it's a closed loop system. That then, I mean, it's amazing of how many they'd say we should do those same things, phytoremediation, right, or CO2 scrubbing, or whatever you wanted to look at it. We should do that here on Earth. Really? I'm glad you figured that out. That
Really?
For 3 decades. Yes, you're right. We should totally do that here.
That's a good idea.
You know,
Yeah.
it's having that hands-on activity component. We're all of one thing. It's all interconnected on multiple layers, and we don't. And I don't feel, you know, and the group we work with, without the power of the plant and the recognition of it, the biomimicry of what nature shows as a system. If those things aren't present, how successful will that next be? Is pretty much how we look at it.
Cool. One of our guests, one of our folks asked a question here. How confident are you in using hemp for regolith processing? Have you done any sort of simulant experiments? What does it do to the soil?
Well, the hemp itself as regolith processing, not by itself. That special recipe, and I have not done the research in it on my own hands-on. That is an individual. His name's Scott McStacy. He's one of the speakers in HempX. He's who brought the ASTM standard getting recognized by the Commonwealth of Virginia. Because right now, only Virginia, Minnesota, and Austin, Texas recognize hemp as building material. So we have a long way of having to get through recognized as the material into the ISO standards and the things that these satellites can really use, and radiation shielding and all kinds of stuff that this plant does in its byproduct form, but cannabis, red clover, and mycelium, those three together is called the Three Sisters system. And that in combination is what you would use to convert the moon regolith into the pull in what you need, pull out what you need, extract the poisons, and actually create that organic growth. Is the combination between the three, because of the root systems then dying out and certain symbiotic that I'm not that expert of.
But it is kind of a functional, even though it's an artificial symbiosis you're creating.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, that's cool.
You know, so then I see, you know, like if you go to the movie, you know, how growing potatoes on Mars, so then maybe, yeah, you throw some fecal in there and then it goes and works. But I don't know. Right. But the level of the testing, that more of that's needed. Some of the research and those specifics has, you know, how much of the regolith that's here on Earth has it been done, right? The levels of these testings and certain things of the materials. You can do it here on Earth, just like at the analog astronaut facilities and the growing and, you know, simulating the other moon or Mars here while doing things is a whole lot more cost effective than trying to go R&D it out on the moon or Mars. So it's just getting, you know, that testing level in when it comes into the radiation components and other things that be, you know, very interested on what can hemp and mycelium and hemp and these other plant materials that have those building and protection markers in them to really be utilized as these products in space itself and on Mars and the moon.
As this picture is kind of building in my head, I see like barriers to adoption, but nothing is necessarily insurmountable. In your own view, are you actually seeing a pathway that we could navigate towards adoption of hemp as a crop on the moon or Mars?
Absolutely. When it comes to the food aspect and just sustainability of you know, 300, 500 soul mission and things like that, when you start incorporating the plant on it just as food, but then what it builds into of the other complementary systems, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Because the energy, you know, the fuel components, there's just so many layers of what it can be used for that there's not many other plant, any other plant on the world that has it as many uses. But you could always go up to fueling the first rocket from biofuel that's made from hemp, right? That hasn't happened.
Yeah.
How we're starting of things like with HempSat, as well as having these hemp fields that are documented that are under the Vera standard carbon credits to offset for hemp carbon credits to be used to offset a launch, and not just the launch itself from the fuel, but all of the other components, in a CSR level, an ESG level, a regenerative actual impact, and how to use this plant in its many, many versatile ways to really be a more conscious society. And I think have, stronger materials, faster technology. There's so many different ways to use it, in the 3D printing components, and just, it's limitless, damn near. It just, the testing of those things the bar needs to be moved, in any way I can move it, we do.
Well, that's exactly one of the questions. There's two of them back to back. I'm pretty sure I know the answers to both of these, but how is hemp done in microgravity? And then a similar question, how's it dealing with radiation? I'm going to guess they haven't been able to do those sort of tests on orbit, right?
Yeah, there was some seeds sent out. So there were some seeds that were on the space station. I know that the individual whose seeds those were who got arrested with Woody Harrelson for growing hemp in Kentucky, right? So, but what was done with those things, there's not much, I haven't found much research on and answers. There are some seeds with man, I forgot their name, but the seeds are out there in space collecting the radiation now to come back to then be able to grow and test and get some of those answers of how did it respond to the solar radiation in this genetic form. That was attempted already, but when it came back, the payload got lost in the ocean. So, or did it? I don't know. I don't know if there's a conspiracy channel.
Right.
Did it?
The down mass craft got high or something on the way down.
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
there is some testing in it, right? But there's definitely not enough that could be. Even here on Earth, and levels of, and that's really what one part of coming on this show is the power of this plant to impact the economy, and even getting in from not the lift port itself, but just the lunar tethers and certain things that is this the biomaterial, right? With plants and mycelium and things. That question, is it the biomaterial that can help achieve these problems that I don't know exist? Maybe, right? Like in what it can do here on Earth, and for the astronauts in the shuttle for just a food per component, and then what it can do in extreme conditions. I definitely believe it's poised to be a monumental solution, and a lot of what it looks at just to go to another planet. And then also simultaneously those ones that say, well, you're looking at space and doing this, that is the CSR level, and the give back to is, no, we're healing the planet here through these things, and then using this byproduct of healing as the R&D testing for the other layers.
Well, let's kind of drill into HempSat specifically, right? Because that's that's that intersection of money and space that our show is really focused on. What does it do? You were talking about farmers, you're talking about data sovereignty, we talked about national sovereignty at the beginning of the show. What does HempSat do? Has it flown? Because I'm not aware of it. When's it going to fly? What is it? Tell us. Let's dig into that a little bit.
All right. So HempSat's an app. All right. We describe it as a digital field notebook that has
so it's
weather
not
assistance.
See, that was
it's not a physical satellite yet. There's been a couple people very interested. Are you wanting to make it a physical satellite?
Yeah,
well, we absolutely can, but we can leverage the satellites that are up there right now, and API and use that information. And it's set as an evidence organizer for regenerative agriculture. So it's built in the frameworks of what the carbon credit standards are through Vera and the gold standard. But as that middleware from the farmer, where they don't have to know MRV, they don't have to know all of the satellite analytics or understand blockchain or any of that to use it. That also has an AI a layer for helping educate on regenerative ag and agricultural practices to help be a better farmer. Because when it comes to regenerative ag, like maybe 3% of the farmers across the world actually use regenerative practices in their agriculture.
Yeah, it's not much.
So it's a multi-solution, but then it's the that level of being that product, that's building material, that is those bioplastics and certain materials that I feel are perfect for what space needs, especially through, like I spoke earlier, 3D printing and what have you. But it's the healing of it for the planet, for the higher quality of health, complete essential nutrition through the seed, but sovereignty components of that food, fuel, and data is where it really differentiates itself from others going after or recognizing the power of data.
So are people using the app? Is it doing the thing that you're asking it to do? Are people using it?
No, our MVP will be done at the end of the month. We're implementing it in 8 farms in Costa Rica on our alpha pilot. We also have it's a total of 2,500 acres in the Ozarks. We'll see what that pilot's starting off with. We're finalizing LOIs on pilot in Jamaica, which is a 300-acre ganja farm, right? Different culture, but same plant. And then as well as in Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, Liberia. And partnered in with a carbon credit partner in Germany that we're the exclusive U.S. distributor of credits for them and middleware. And a lot of the infrastructure ready to just rock and roll. And then those at least key pilot farms on out the gate. And then we have a data partner that specializes zero trust architecture. I don't know if you're familiar with ZTA, but it is a self-governing, self-destructing when needed infusion code that can go on any data to geofence it to a phone or a office or country, city, state, what have you, level of data management and protection of the sovereign data. So lots of technical components and people in it. And here at the end of the month, we'll be doing the beta testing on our pilot farms.
That's pretty neat. I don't know that much about carbon credits
it's a whole crook system right now. It's a really crook system, and they're in need of it's been recognized by the outside looking in of this doesn't seem right. So now non-duplicable credits and a ledger of authenticity that is transparent, and the blockchain is the solution of being able to track and have the absolute data, the controls of the credits and where they came from, what they are, from seed to sale. We go from soil to the stars is how we look at it. But that whole life cycle of the plant, right? From where it started, how it started, to what it actually got used for, and the impact beyond that from its use, right? That's the narrative of where we look. And this plant, it has that role. So, having HempSat, because it's not just for hemp, it's for agricultural, period.
Right. I understood that. Yeah.
But with deep desertification and other issues across the globe, it is the solution for it. And then you go and you take that and, preemptively, it's going to be turned into this biofuel. It's going to be turned into these bioplastics or these fireproof and healthy home materials. That now takes that carbon credit, because you've locked it up, and turns it from, worth $35 to $180 and above, because of what you did with the carbon collection and what you can prove you did with it. Is how we've taken it to a whole nother layer of supply chain infrastructure and things of that to really help the farmer, not just on, hey, I can track some data and do some things. They can be part of that that supply chain that's heavily needed in the States, across the globe for hemp, but also that non-Monsanto's and non-chained level of, you need to be able to have food security and food sovereignty. So this helps fulfill that effortlessly.
Okay, we've only got 6 minutes left. I want to make sure we five. We have 5 minutes left. Answer quick, because I don't know where this question is going. Tell me about what's going on what events are going on in New York City. I don't know where he's going with that one. And the largest industry. I think those are connected, but I'm not sure. So
Nikos.
You know Nick? All right.
Yeah, so. Nikos is. Oh, you guys will love him. He's a space cadet for sure.
All right. Well,
nice, handsome man, beautiful person, amazing networker, integrator, and he's fun. So September in the events, we've got many things going. September's International Peace Week. It's also the Children Cancer Awareness Month, so we're doing a lot through the month of September. But so we'll be out there with a bunch of UN delegates and getting connected for the peace sector, but then also the people the people that are there wear many hats, right? So hosting those events and of course there's always some plant influence around everywhere we go, which is normally quite enjoyed. I know we are going to be on the space habitat. Me and a couple other speakers, space habitat webinar with, I forgot his name, November 12th through the 15th with the Analog Astronaut Space Habitat Conference.
Oh, that will be down in New Mexico, I think.
Brazil, isn't it?
Is it Arizona? Okay.
I believe Brazil. But yeah, we'll be doing, got a couple speakers from the HempX Symposium going in, talking some more space levels and the specifics of closed loop circuits and space agriculture and farming. So that should be fun there in November. And then I know there's the big space conference or space event there outside Dallas, in December, right before Miami Art Week. I think it's the 1st through the 3rd or something. Is that correct?
That's Earthlight. Is that the Earthlight one?
I think so. I think
Earthlight Institute. Yeah.
I know there's talks of going in and playing through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just 3 minutes. F's 100%. Footprints of Peace is our overarching event campaign. We didn't touch on it at all. It's real simple. We make peace documenting levels and actually making regenerative impacts and it being a participatory component as just to talk about something and say it is. And we've done a lot of fun events through it. We hosted the first World Space Party of Uganda back on April 12th, Yuri's Night. We're going to be doing the second World Space Party of Uganda on April 7th next year, and encouraging quite a few other World Space Parties out there in Africa in the layers of this same hemp solution, food solution, regenerative understanding into the space economy.
Okay.
Right on.
Well, if your friend Nick is right, we're going to get 6 billion subscribers because of this. So if we can get a dime,
I'll give you some, as they say in the decentral. I'll give you some alpha. Viva Live TV. Viva Live TV.
Okay.
There's some things happening, and we'll definitely need to get a space channel on there. I don't even know if they have one yet. We're gonna have to go see if they got They don't have a weed channel, so I'm already swinging away at a whole network. Let's see if they got a space channel. Nick's part of the dance channel, right? And this is how we move.
All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Give us your future. What's 5 years? What's 5 years out and what's 25 years out? 1 minute each. What do you got?
5 years out is at least 5 countries connected into making impact on the governmental side through this data sovereignty, food aspect, and materials development. 25 years out, better have some plant growing on the moon. That's, really that should be like a 10, but look at where the moon launch, when we landed to where it is now, we should already have been there. So let's just say 25 years out, we've got it going on the moon and a level of feeding people there.
And we got to go there. We got to go to stay this time. Absolutely. Oh my God. This has been actually a fascinating topic. We're definitely going to go into this again some more. Michael Kamp, systems architect, Honeycomb Hydro, and is a general good guy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we will do this again. If you want to stick around for a minute afterwards, we
100%.
usually do a postmortem thing. So hang in there. We'll see you in a minute. Well, that, Michael, was a very, very fascinating program. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Monday, Ivan Turchak will be joining us.
Okay.
Also an interesting fellow, and we'll see. Because he postponed, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he
and
postponed for him a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yep, but we're getting him back, and that's going to be great. And now, as always, it'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern. So for Sean Key and Michael Lane and myself, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.